Hi Rosy friends, it's Julie, and today I'm going to talk about something that I've actually been meaning to update for quite some time. If you've been watching my videos for a while, or if you've checked out some of the other videos that I've done, then you might know that I did a Manuka honey and turmeric face mask, a DIY face mask recipe about a year ago, I think it was, and that got a great response. Basically pretty much everybody who tried it and who gave me feedback had like great feedback, but there were a few questions that came with it, and I've fine-tuned that recipe since that time, so I thought that I would just do another video and update it and answer some of the questions that came up all in one place, instead of kind of hoping that everybody will just read all the comments from that original video. So the first change that I made to the original recipe was that it was a Manuka honey recipe, and originally I had used a type of Manuka honey that didn't have the UMF rating on it. That's basically a special kind of rating that talks about the active agents inside the Manuka honey. Manuka honey is a special kind of honey. It comes from places like New Zealand, normally New Zealand, where the bees collect the pollen of a very specific plant and then use that to make honey, and it has all these unique properties. It has a very strong flavor. So I had been using one where the UMF rating was very low. It wasn't doing any harm, but it just wasn't giving the extra benefits of Manuka honey. You really have to watch that kind of thing, apparently. I did not know that at the time. I was very new to it. So after that point, I started buying actual Manuka honey with a higher UMF rating, and that was really expensive. Where I live, I had to go to specialty stores, and those jars usually cost, for a little bitty jar like this, it would be anywhere from $25 to $50, depending on the rating and where it came from and the purity level and all the different kinds of, just the brand even. I did that only once. I went through one jar, and one jar is a lot of masks, but I decided that I would tinker with some other ideas with honey and see if I could get the same results, and fortunately I was able to do that. And what I did was I decided to start using unpasteurized, so raw honey. And I use it from a local producer. So I found where I can get honey from a local company, and I started using theirs. And the reason that I want local isn't just shop local, which I think is a great thing, but also there have been some studies recently put out that suggest that eating and using honey from local places means that the honey was made with pollens that are local to your region where you live, which means that it can help to build almost a little bit of a tolerance to some of the local pollens. And because I have a lot of issues with seasonal allergies and pollen allergies, I thought that probably couldn't hurt. So I went out and I got some local honey, and I've been using it, and the place where I've been shopping does not pasteurize their honey, so it is raw honey, and that means that it has a lot more of the enzymes in it that haven't broken down from the heat of pasteurization. So that's why it's good for your health, but it's also good for your skin. So this is the one that I use right here. Liquid honey, unpasteurized. It's wildflower honey, and it's made in Canada. It's made locally to me, and I've also tried it. They have several kinds. That one's the wildflower. This one's the buckwheat, and that just means that it's from pollen from buckwheat flower, from the buckwheat plant's flower, and it's just a little bit, if you compare them, it's a little bit darker. This one's the buckwheat one. I don't find any difference, and I like this one more in terms of flavor, so I keep using that one so that I can use it for food and for my face all at the same time, instead of having to buy two different kinds. So it's a lot cheaper, it supports my local economy, it supports bee farmers, and I get raw local honey for my face. So that would be what that ingredient's all about. So that's the main ingredient. I also use turmeric. It's just ground regular turmeric. I get this at the grocery store. I buy the cheapest one I can find. As far as I know, there is nothing that says that there's one kind that's better than the other, so I buy this. And finally, I use olive oil. It's extra virgin olive oil. I get whatever, I just use whatever happens to be in my cupboard. I try to get very good extra virgin olive oil because it's good for you, and this one has a little symbol down there. This one's fair trade, which makes me happy too. This is obviously not local. I'm in Canada. We do not have a large olive oil economy here, But yeah, so that just happens to be the one that I'm using there. And I use a different one in the last video. And I know that olive oil doesn't work for some people. It does work for me. It's worked for everybody that I've received feedback from, but in case olive oil doesn't work, virgin coconut oil is also good. This one is organic. I don't know if organic makes a difference, but it's only in terms of price, it's only a difference of about 15 cents or something like that for me. So I just get the organic just in case that's better, who knows. I do go for the olive oil one. I don't use the coconut oil one as much, just because if I leave coconut oil on my face too long, I can sometimes get a breakout. It doesn't always happen, but if I can avoid it, I try to. I know that other people swear by coconut oil and they never have any problems with it. So I thought I would just mention that that is a cool alternative to the olive oil. So those are the 3 ingredients. So it's just the honey, raw honey, preferably raw local honey, the olive oil or coconut oil, I like the olive oil, and the turmeric, ground turmeric from the spice section at your grocery store. Nothing special about the one that I buy. I've had a few questions about this recipe that I answered in the comments of the other ones, or about the old recipe at least, and I thought I would just sort of address them here. One of the main ones is, because turmeric is extremely staining. This stuff is very, very yellow and it stains. It really, really stains, which is why I'm wearing an old t-shirt and I have my hair in these little braids and things to keep it out of the way because I don't want to get my clothing or anything stained. But does it stain your face? In my experience, no. If I use it without the olive oil or without an oil in it, it has an increased chance of staining. I found that the oil stops it from actually staining, like leaving the color behind on my face. So if that was why I actually, when I was tinkering with the recipe, that's why I left the oil in. It's not just because it's really hydrating and moisturizing, but it also keeps the staining out. If I use honey and turmeric alone, which I did try, then it does leave a little bit of a yellow tint to my face that will fade out over a short period of time. That said, as I said, it will stain your clothing, it will stain your hair, so, you know, don't put anything around you that you don't want to get stained in case you spill it or drop it or, you know, touch in any way, or if it drips. For example, these are the cloths that I use to take it off. These are the type of cloth. It's just a microfiber cloth. It's super, super soft. And this is the one that I use when I use this specific mask. So you can see a huge difference in color. And that's because this is the one that gets massively stained from this mask. This is a very yellow mask. It will stain fabric. The other thing I want to note is after you take the mask off, I don't wash it off with cleansers or soap or anything. I just rinse it off with warm water until I can't tell that there's any left. That said, I do tend to wash my face and moisturize if I'm going to bed afterward because it will stain a pillowcase. Even after you've washed it off, if there's a little bit left, it can start to leave a little bit of an orangey brown behind. So it leaves a look behind that's like that. So if you do plan to just go to bed without washing your face an extra time after this mask, then I do recommend using an old pillowcase. I think I've covered everything, all the questions. If I haven't, I will hopefully think of them before the end of this video. But yeah, so all I'm going to do, I have a clean face now, which is why it looks a little bit on the red side because I just washed it and then sat down here. I have an old t-shirt, I have my hair out of the way, and I have all of the ingredients in this little bowl. I haven't mixed it yet, but this is, by the way, this bowl is from the Rosy Life Kit that I sold last year, that I had just a few of them just to see if anybody was interested. By the way, if you want me to make one of those again, those Rosy Life Kits, if you got a kick out of that, I did have very positive feedback, then please let me know in the comments. If they're all normally products that I've reviewed or that I've liked. They're in sample sizes or full sizes, and they're things like even a DIY face mask kit so that you have everything that you need to do this sort of thing. If you want me to do that sort of thing again, let me know, and if there are any specific types of products that you would want to see in there, please mention that. I am curious. Yep, so all I did is put the ingredients in this little bowl. I measured them out, and they include 1 teaspoon of raw local pure honey. Mine is raw local wildflower honey, but even if you can't get local, try to find unpasteurized. It does have enzymes that haven't been broken down. Worst case, just use regular honey, anything you can find. It's still good, but we're trying to, you know, kind of go for the best possible here, and that would, in my opinion, in my non-expert opinion, be raw and local honey. There will be 1/4 teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil, best quality that you can find in my opinion, but as long as it's pure extra virgin olive oil, then it should do the trick because it's to hydrate and to make sure your face isn't stained with the orange, yellowy orange turmeric. And of course the 1/4 teaspoon of ground turmeric. So it's just 3 ingredients in the little bowl. It looks absolutely disgusting like that, taking the little spatula and mixing it all around so that it makes a paste. If you are familiar with the old recipe that I used more honey in that one. The reason that I've cut back on it in this one is that I like just doing a batch that'll fit like just enough for my face. The old one I was doing the mask so many times that I was making enough for extra. But now I do it around once a week, so I prefer to just do enough for one little batch. It's super handy in when you've got a little dedicated set that you can just like rinse and wash and put aside. So that would be why the ratio of the ingredients is different now, is because I just want enough for one application. So yeah, I've mixed it all around. It has a texture like this. It's basically just like honey, only yellower now. And once it's ready, I just put the spatula aside, take the little brush, and put it all over my face. You can do this with your fingers, or you could do it with like a spatula or something like that. I prefer to do it with a brush that it has soft ends, but it is stiff enough that it will actually apply it evenly. That's just my preference, and it's what I find is least irritating to my skin as I apply it, but you know, you go for what works for you. And then afterward, I will use my trusty stained cloth and water, and we'll just rinse it and wipe it off. I won't show that on camera because it's messy. So I'll apply it now, and see, this is super, super thick, so it applies very nicely now. I don't apply it anywhere near my eye area. I do a nice big circle around it. I don't know if it's dangerous for the eyes. I can't imagine that it is, but if it is, I don't want it in there. Plus, the idea of having honey in my eyelashes sounds so unbelievably disgusting to me. Blah. So, yep, so this is just, I just apply it and then keep a wide range around. I also try not to get it into my hair or scalp because that'll make it harder just to get off. But it won't, you know, hurt or anything, and I am afraid that the turmeric would dye the edge of my, like, kind of at the root area of my hair. I don't know if that's the case, but I also don't want to mess with that. There. And as you can see, it pretty much used up the whole thing, so that makes it a lot easier for me. I can just wash that bowl out and set it aside again, and then just make it up because it's 3 ingredients, and it's super easy to put together, so there's really no reason for me to make a larger batch and have to save it or anything. If you did see the older video, you can see that this is slightly yellower than the original version. It's got more of an orangey tint to it. The other one was more faded just because there was more honey in it. That was just because I wanted to spread around more. Just because this is more concentrated with the turmeric, it doesn't mean that it is any more staining. Same staining power on towels and clothing and things, but not on the face. I do like it does actually make me feel a little better to have more turmeric on my face because it is such a wonderful anti-inflammatory ingredient. I put it in smoothies, I put it in recipes. You'll see it a number of times in the cookbook that I'm creating right now. But yeah, this is one of my favorite ingredients in terms of keeping inflammation under control. Inflammation is what causes pain and burning and swelling and redness and things like that. So when you can get inflammation down, when you get that a little bit under control, then it takes a lot of the signs and symptoms with it. So yeah, that's a very serious kind of talk that I've just had with my face looking crazy, crazy yellow. But Yep, so now I just sit around for anywhere from 15 minutes to a half an hour. At this time of year, I normally will wait the entire time. I will go the full half hour with it, and the reason is that it's still cool enough out that this stays comfortable the whole time. In the middle of summer, I tend to be closer to the 15-minute range, and that's just because this is made of honey. So as you sit there and as it gets warmer and warmer and warmer, it can start to melt a little bit, and I'm always afraid that it'll drip. Yep, so now I will just sit and relax for about a half an hour, and then I will come back and show you what it looks like. Then after that, I will wash it off and show you what that looks like. So, yep. Hi again. Okay, I'm back, and it has been about 23 minutes since I was here last. This is what the mask looks like now. So kind of scary and separated. But yeah, but it's, you know, it hasn't been drippy or anything like that. It has kind of separated slightly just because it's a liquid and it's on your face. But yeah, so I'm gonna go and wash this off. All I do is take a cloth like this, but the stained one, which is now in my bathroom and ready for me to use, and I just dampen it and then gently wipe it away. And then I just use cool but not cold water and just rinse it over my face a few times. I don't actually wash it off, because that way whatever's sort of left over can just continue to sink in and do good things for my skin. So I just leave it at that. But yeah, so I will be right back. And I'm back again, and as you can see, my face is irritated from having been, you know, having rubbed off the mask and been washed off and everything. But other than that, it is feeling nice and cool and things. It will cool down again, like this redness from the contact in the water will cool down over the next few minutes, and my face will feel nice and calm again. So yeah, I love doing that mask. It is actually really soothing. My face doesn't look great right now because it's, you know, I've made contact with it and stuff, but it feels really good. Just to point out though, not every, you know, every case of rosacea is different, so I'm not going to pretend that this is going to work for everybody or that it will be effective for everybody. I have only received positive feedback on it, but every single person has reactions to different things in different ways. So I might find it soothing, and somebody else might find it soothing, and somebody else might find it super irritating or, you know, unpleasant or whatever. So I'm just sharing this not as some sort of cure or something that will work for everybody, but just something that's definitely worked for me, and I do like to tell people about that in case it's helpful for you too. So yeah, oh, and you can see that my face is in no way orange after just having washed that off and from having used even all this turmeric on there. And lots of things dye my face really, really easily. So I feel like if it doesn't dye my face, then it's likely not going to dye yours either. If you're really not sure, then, you know, try testing it somewhere on your neck or on the inside of your wrist or something like that. I just realized that my hand has some yellow on it just because I just finished throwing the cloth into the wash. I should have washed my hands after that, but yeah, no, so yeah, so you can tell my skin is highly absorbent, but once I go and wash this off, that'll be gone, just like it's gone off my face and everything. So yeah, so I hope this update of the video was helpful for you. I hope it helps to save you money using just raw honey instead of the manuka honey, because I don't know if the manuka honey really did anything extra for my skin, but I certainly didn't observe it, even when I was using the really expensive stuff with a higher rating. But yeah, so I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, that way I'll know. And if you want to see more videos like this one and you haven't already subscribed, please do, because I make new videos every Sunday and Thursday. And other than that, I will see you next time.